So welcome to our weekly Health Patriot Nation team call. I know we've got a few different teams joining us this morning for a legendary guest that we have the honor of learning from. I'm so excited Ms. Milan is speaking with us. Those of you on my team, I just want to make sure that you saw, I did our team announcements on a separate live video in our team page because I didn't want to waste any time on this call. So please go check those out. I want to make sure that we get started. I'm still admitting people, so if I'm looking over and pausing, that's why. We have a full house, which is amazing today. I'm going to get started by reading Milan's bio, because for those of you who either weren't in our team's event page or haven't read it or heard it, so powerful and really such an honor that we have to learn from Milan. And as you guys are jumping on, if you could please mute your lines, that would be amazing and super helpful. Okay, so I'm going to pull up Milan's bio really quick here and read. Okay, so for the past 35 years, Milan has mentored women to design the life they've dreamed of. She is a powerful force in the world of personal development for women and is a highly sought after speaker for women's organizations. In her recent appearances as a featured speaker in The Most Powerful Women in Network Marketing, her wisdom inspired an international audience of over 50,000 women around the world. Prior to being a Beachbody coach, Milan was a vice president on the corporate side of network marketing until she retired in 2004 to launch her company, Womankind. In 2006, Carl Deichler asked Milan to join the Beachbody team to help develop coach tools and launch the Team Beachbody Coach Network. When the network was ready to launch, Milan was the very first coach to enroll. Literally, the founding coach of Beachbody is amongst us. That's so amazing. Okay, sorry, I get so excited. And went on to build Team Genesis. What an appropriate name. Team Genesis is now a coach community of over 70,000 members that grows at an average rate of 1,000 new coaches per week and contributes over 65 million PV per year to the company. She was one of the first coaches to serve 2 terms on the coach advisory board. She was the first repeat top coach and continued on to become an elite coach. She was in the very first group of Million Club coaches and now has several figure and Million Club leaders in her organization. With these, hold on, sorry guys. With these achievements comes a very interesting fact about Milan. She doesn't consider herself achievement driven. Her passion is helping people live well and awakening the entrepreneur within the women she mentors, which is why I'm excited to invite her today to speak to us, to talk about how she keeps coaching business fresh after 15 years and how she helps her coaches thrive by building volume and strong teams. I'm so excited. I hope everyone has their notebooks out or their computers ready to start typing some notes. Milan, I am just going to turn it over to you. For a lot of us, and I know this is something that you're kind of famous for teaching, and how to build emerald tribes and how to build volume strong and stuff. So I'm just going to turn it over to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jess. Oh my gosh, what a great invitation. And I just love seeing all your faces, familiar faces for sure. Katrina, Colleen, there's so many of you that I've had a chance to meet in person. And for those of you that are relatively new, or maybe let's say less than 5 years in our network, I'm so glad you're here too. And I'm excited to share this with you guys. So I'll definitely share the deck, and there's a couple of interesting tools in this that might be of value to you guys, because I'll have a really fun project for you to embark on after today. But Jess, I need to share. Can I do that? Is that a possibility? So let's see.
Yes, absolutely.
As soon as she sets me up to do that. That intro is like, oof, it's weird to hear that because it has been 15 years. But it doesn't feel like it's been that long at all. So here we go with my screen share. I hope you guys can see this. All right, so let's talk about my journey. If anybody's ever said no to you, I want you to know that I said no to Carl Deichler, I think it was 6 times. When he first was coming to us with an idea he had, it was... there was so many things going on in my life at the time. I had spent 15 years on the corporate side of direct selling in a role similar to what I'm trying to think of, maybe like Jeff Hill had back in the day. I'm not sure who's in that role now, but responsible for sales and marketing and the development of distributors for a nutritional product company. Um, that was in about 50 different countries around the world. So lots of travel, lots of standing in front of people saying, live your best life, be true to who you are, discover the entrepreneurial spirit. And I did that for a long time until all of a sudden I realized that I had climbed this corporate ladder to a place I didn't even want to be anymore. And it was kind of shocking to everybody because my girls were just getting out of college as a single mom. And I just, everybody thought that I had worked so hard, scrapping my way up this corporate ladder. And I really wanted what all the distributors had, which was a way to be an entrepreneurial woman without all the headaches. And I wanted to prove I could do it, to be quite honest, because up until that point, I was visiting all these distributors and saying, here's how you should work your business. But I had never actually done that. I'd never had my paycheck on that line before. And so here I am, peak of my earning years. I think I was 42. I quit. And I really quit to take better care of myself and figure out a way to show other women how they could do that too. And it was around that time that I married Kevin. We moved up to the wine country in Northern California, and Carl and his team started calling because Carl was going through a similar kind of awakening to what's all of this for in his life. He and John had, and in fact, let me go to the next screen. He and John, this journey of Beachbody was a really interesting one because here's two guys work for Gunther Ranker, big infomercial company, went to Gunther and said, hey, we got this idea to sell fitness DVDs on an infomercial, and they laughed him literally out of the room. So what does Carl do? He and John are like, well, then we'll go do it ourselves. So pretty bold move. They launched Beachbody, and they did it by creating infomercials. And the first few were a total flop. In fact, P90X was a flop in the very beginning. But one thing Carl is tenacious and open to tweaking things until he gets it right. Love that about him. So that's how Beachbody started. And I think what happened there is Carl went through this thing I'm trying to remember what year it was, where he just didn't want to be a transactional company. And infomercials had good years and bad years. And so he started talking to our customers. And I think this story is really important for coaches to understand. How did we get to where we are today? Coaching came from our customers. They started asking, particularly at that time, P90X people, like, out of 10 of you who bought it, 3 of you are getting good results. What's different about the 3 of you? And back in those days, the answer was we didn't do it alone. We found a buddy that held us accountable. So they built a whole online thing called Wowie, Workout with You. It was like kind of like an online gym for all of their customers to connect. That was even before coaching too. And they created a whole forum for people to connect. And all of a sudden they realized that the truth about weight loss is and fitness and healthy living is it's hard. And if they could connect what was then the DVDs in the box to a good nutritional solution, to a coach who had a vested interest in getting them engaged, that was a really good idea. And they would move from being this transactional company that sold DVDs and boxes in seconds on infomercial to an actual company that had some roots to it. And that's when Carl started calling Kevin and I. And I was retiring out of network marketing, didn't want to do it anymore. And I said no to him over and over and over again, partially 2 reasons. One, I wasn't into fitness myself. I was a businesswoman, not really even in touch with my body or my wellness for that matter, because I was kind of achievement driven on the other end of it. And the other reason was Beachbody, the name, and Million Dollar Body, even worse name. I was like, I can't connect with this. So luckily Carl was tenacious, and he finally invited us there for 3 days. It's another reason why it's so good to get in front of people. So we go down to LA for 3 days, me probably with my arms crossed. And I'm looking at his P90X products, and they're okay, the nutritional products, but I remember saying some really hard things to him. And he was really respectful, but here's what happened. I wasn't convinced even after 3 days. So he walks me to the door and he says, listen, Milan, we've got a lot to do in a very short period of time. This was September of 2006. We were launching in December with a small group of founders. And he goes, we've got a lot to do. And, I don't know where this will go, but what if you could create a business that you loved? I mean, something that you were really proud of, where the most important part of the success of your business was that you took really good care of yourself. and the people you loved? What if that was the business strategy? And I gave him a hug and I left, and I was driving home and I was getting other offers actually to go back into the corporate world. And I felt so risky at the time, probably like you might have felt when you first started. And I thought, no CEO my entire career had never cared if I was healthy or happy. No CEO said, what if the most important thing is your well being? And that's the strategy we build this on. And at that point, I couldn't say no, even though I think the first times I was ever like recruiting any coach, the Judy Finnerans, the Tracy Morrows, all of them, I said, listen, I don't know if we'll be in business in 6 months. I don't know if this is going to work. We don't even have a computer system or a training system yet. But what I do know is if we get the right people together, we could do something really cool here. Because one of the things I was most proud of is that I felt like Beachbody was telling the truth. It's hard. It's hard to live a healthy life. And we're not going to create a magic pill. We're going to create a way for you to move your body, feed your body, and be connected to other people who will help you make it stick. So that's how I started this. And that's the journey of Beachbody now, to where it's become what I think is kind of a global force, telling the truth that it isn't easy. But if you join a community of people who have a real vested interest in your success, that healthy living is a new way to experience life. And that's a community I'm really proud of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about 4 things. The first thing I want to talk about is the healthy formula. I just mentioned it a little bit, but I want to take a deeper dive into that. The second thing we're going to talk about, this idea of helping and empowering a coach to achieve 500 team volume in sales every month. How do you do it? How do you duplicate it? The third thing we're going to talk about is this idea of an emerald tribe, because everybody seems to want to get to diamond, but I actually think that emerald and emerald tribes are the sweet spot here. And I'll show you why and how building emerald tribes creates a diamond strong team. So, and if you guys have questions, please either drop them in the comments, or maybe once Jess posts this, you can ask questions over time and I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, so the healthy formula. I feel like in the world of wellness, fitness, health, all of it, it's so noisy. I mean, there's so many companies out there promising the moon. And whether it's, pills in a bottle, or whether it's, I just feel like it's noisy and complicated. And most people that we talk to have tried and spent a fair amount of money trying to figure it out. And so they come to us oftentimes not very confident, and oftentimes skeptical. And so I'm usually very upfront with what the Beachbody solution is. And that is, we make fitness fun, we make nutrition simple, and we created a support or a community, including coaches, to help people actually make lasting change. And we know that getting from where you are to a healthier state of life takes all 3 of those things. And we're we are committed to that for sure. So I'm going to show you in this healthy formula how this foundational idea allows me to have a conversation with anyone on that wellness spectrum who's trying to figure it out. The healthy formula, though, to me is how I approach coaching. Have never seen myself as selling challenge packs and running challenge groups. I've always seen myself as helping people figure out what their healthy formula is. So let's move on. So I created this a while back because I was working with a lot of personal trainers or people who, it was already a part of their life, but they struggled a little bit to help other people figure out what their healthy formula was. So I'm always discovering with customers these 3 things. Where are you with nutrition right now? Are you on track with a food plan? Do you need a kickstart with fast results, or you're going to lose? I got some people who, like, if they don't lose 5 pounds in the first 2 weeks, they're done. They're just impatient, or they know a lot, but they don't know how to stay on track, or they just want something they can stick with long term. So we have solutions for that. Obviously, 3-day refresh could be one, 2B mindset, or if you like the containers can be one, ultimate portion fix. There's a lot of solutions we have around nutrition. Shakeology is probably one of our premier products, but it's not our only product. So whenever I'm helping somebody figure out what their nutrition solution is, we're exploring different options for them. Quite honestly, for women over 50, I work a lot in digestive health. And I focus a lot on just that, using the products from the Ultimate Reset. So let's just get your digestion healthy first, and then we'll move into something else. Either way, I want you to see that this is one of the three pillars that you as a coach can help somebody figure out. The second is fitness, obviously. I'm on track with my fitness. I've got a variety of things. I need a lot of variety. I talked to a Comcast guy once. He's like, I just get bored really fast. Or somebody's like, I give up too fast. I need to focus on something. So I'm just sharing this with you for you to start to see your role as a coach as bigger than challenge packs and challenge groups. It really is about helping people figure this out. And we have a lot of really great options in the fitness space too. So it's the trial, it's become a member, it's do the whole bundle. There's a lot of solutions there. Maybe it's program specific. I've even started entering people through the meditation path. Let's just, if you're not ready to go do something rough with your body, let's just get your mind and your body connected first. So I love that we've really expanded that. And the last, of course, I need to move you guys over here, is support. So obviously this is our sweet spot. And having an online community, using Facebook as a platform. Some of you are using other platforms now. Mobile tracker app, which is now, I should probably change that to Beachbody On Demand. But the whole idea is, do you like an app? Well, you go to an app. I've got people who won't. I've got people who won't go to Facebook. I've got some who just text me online, just direct, person to person. But the whole idea is, how are you providing support, getting support? All of these things are bundled into a challenge pack, as you know. And so that kind of is our total solution. I think the seed I'm trying to plant here is, if we always go to the challenge pack first, while it is Beachbody's best bundled solution, we might be missing a way to connect with somebody in one of these three other areas. Example, real quick. Somebody's a CrossFit person, loves CrossFit. I'm not going to try to get them off of CrossFit and say, well, I'll ask them, how's CrossFit working for you? Do you love it? How's your joints? Is it working for you? But I don't have to get them off of CrossFit, or I don't have to get them off their Peloton necessarily. What I do need to do is, it sounds like you've got the fitness thing figured out. What's going on with your nutrition? And a lot of times they're lacking there. Or they're like a lifetime member of Weight Watchers. Sounds like you've got that figured out. What are you doing to move your body, and how are you getting support? Do you see what I'm saying here? That it really is three pillars of a solution. And if you start to see your role as a coach this way, you can start building a customer base that goes beyond a challenge pack. And I did see that some coaches were so focused on challenge packs, obviously because of Success Club and other reasons, that they were missing opportunities to actually connect with people in one of these three areas. And I also love that when you understand the healthy formula, it allows any coach to have any conversation with anyone who's looking to complete this journey of having all three solutions in place. That's the healthy formula. Let's go to the next one. All right. So thinking about this idea of how you see your role as a coach, maybe a little bit differently, knowing that, I always have conversations with people about, let's figure out what your healthy formula is, and know that Beachbody's bundled this in a really attractive way, because that's what we stand for, all three pillars. And or I think they call it the total solution now. But we've been talking about this for 15 years, and we've been setting ourselves apart from other solutions with the healthy formula idea all along. So now I'm going to move that into this idea of the 500 plus coach, I call it, and I'll explain what the plus is. The second shift in thinking maybe is similar to the idea of just get to Success Club 5, because Success Club 5 is a very simplistic way for every coach to say, that's my goal. But I want to kind of shift that. So what is a 500? And it isn't really PV. I'm going to say it's TV. I've changed it some places I didn't hear, but it really is team volume. It's PV in the beginning when they're first starting out, but within the first 3 months, I've got them really understanding what team volume is. So to me, this 500 coach is the heart of your entire team. It's somebody who lives the vital behaviors themselves, so it's real for them. They know how to invite. I'm doing this, come do this with me, has been our classic invite all along. Hey, I'm doing this, come do this with me. They know how to engage. And engaging to me is not so much, it's really genuinely asking people, how have you been? How's your health? And just listening. They know what the healthy formula is, so they know that they're helping people figure out something that's going to work for them. but they also nurture customers and contacts. They're more interested in having 100 really great customers that they're in relationship with than 1,000 followers who they don't know very well. And they are what I like to call product and company confident, meaning that they know what our products are and what they do. That takes a little time. And that they know the Beachbody story and they know what we stand for. And they're confident in how we set ourselves apart and what we offer relative to all the other solution and the noise that's out there around healthy living. Okay. The mindset of a 500 plus coach is that they meet customers where they are. So the mindset of a 500 coach is not necessarily challenge pack, challenge pack, challenge pack, challenge pack, challenge pack. It is, let's figure out what your healthy formula is and that everybody has one and needs one. They invest in creating raving fan customers. So when I'm talking to a 500 plus coach, she knows who her customers are, and she's providing value there. Content value, connection value, that it is, and here's where I've seen a mistake, not a mistake, I've seen a challenge occur. If you look at every month as on the first of the month, you're at 0 and you've got to go get 5 more Success Club points or 10 more, or whatever your goal is, you almost are driven to that activity versus saying, what's going on with the person that 6 months ago said yes. So a 500 plus coach sees the value in retention and sees the value in creating this raving fan customer, because that customer actually becomes a point to possibly hundreds of other people versus the 2 Success Club points you earned last month. They inspire customers to become influencers. So every customer I have is a point to another 100 or more, at least to another 10. And then my business strategy is revenue per customer. So I don't want to just sell a challenge pack. I want to actually create value to where that customer is generating revenue over and over and over again. That is a fundamental business mindset of anybody in business. But it takes a lot of work to acquire a customer. So why would we just end there? And then as a rule, the goal of my 500 coaches are looking for a consistent 6 to 10 customers. Not necessarily new ones every month, by the way, because we're going to talk about how to get to 500. All right, so here's some ideas for that. I created this fun little TV menu just as a way to kind of demonstrate what happens when a team like you guys get together and start really thinking about would we empower, help, equip every coach on our team to feel confident that they could start April 1st and achieve 500 TV in sales. And sponsor one. So the plus is sponsoring one, because I do believe over all the years that a consistent enrollment of one coach or more a month for everyone is like vital, fuel to your business at many levels. So we are going to talk about how we do that. But here's the idea. What are some of the healthy solutions and where does TV come from? Obviously, Shakeology, Daily Sunshine, that, whether it's 15 points for a sampler or whether it's, 90 TV for a consistent Shakeology consumer, that's great. I think on average, I have to ask Carl what the recent numbers are, but we retain a Shakeology customer on average about 4 months, which, by the way, most people reach their 20, 40, 50, whatever weight loss goal in that time frame. And so that's not speaking to the value of Shakeology. It's just they kind of do that for like 3 or 4 months and then they move on. Now I've got customers who've been on Shakeology since day one, and you probably do too, because they really get it. That said, making daily nutrition a part of your life, especially with a shake, is a big habit change for people. We sometimes think, what's the deal? But actually doing a shake every day, for us, no brainer. For your customer is a major habit change. So back to this menu. I would love for you to start to think about what's available to me to serve people. If I'm meeting people where they are, if I'm wanting to serve customers, what else is there? Collagen, Activate, which is a sometimes if you're not going to do anything else, will you at least take a multivitamin? If you're not going to do Shakeology, would you at least do that? And then we'll get your nutrition right. But there's a lot of choices here. And so this is just kind of a menu for you to start to see, how would I build a customer base, 6 to 10 customers, that are doing something consistent around their nutrition. Groups you can lead. So we just started, whoops, sorry, let me go back. We just started brainstorming groups we can lead. So obviously program specific bod groups is what we've all been taught. It's, this is coming out, but I do think sometimes we kind of wait for the next program, or we kind of sensationalize the new thing coming out. Shanti's next, we just finished 9-week control free. And we get into this rhythm of only doing that. And so I want you to find the programs you love and the ones that really resonate with you. Or, you could do an all program group if you want, but definitely have a group. You could have a VIP customer group, which is more and more coaches are doing now. Kind of what I like to think of that is it's a group of people who have already said yes to me in one way or another. And I have permission to talk about Beachbody, unlike I would do necessarily out in the open marketplace. Block parties are an interesting idea. I work a lot with women in all aspects in my consulting work with indirect sales. So some of them do block parties, meaning a group of coaches get together, or you and your newer coaches get together and you host something together. So the new coach doesn't get lost in that whole idea, or they're too scared to ever start one. Free groups, clean week, those are all groups that you can lead. But think about groups or impending events to help you and your team have a consistent volume of 500 or more. So they're an important part of this whole plan. Special events and online marketing. So blogs and podcasts are obviously for those who enjoy doing them. I think they're a little bit labor intensive, but some of you have a voice you need to speak, and it's a huge, wonderful way to add value. But I'm hoping every coach has a launch event. You can do a healthy collab, as I like to call it, or consider maybe having customers become hostesses or hosted events so that you're meeting their group of people. So parties, the old party plan idea, we're a network marketing model. We're not a party plan model as such, but the concept of having a customer be the point person for doing a special event for them and with their people is actually kind of smart. So this healthy collab, friends and family. So that's another way we teach sometimes coaches who are just getting started out to spread the product line that you see above in the healthy solutions and say, would you just try, you got kids, would you just try this Daily Sunshine and help me understand the value of it? Beach bars, bevy, whatever. So sometimes a coach can get to their first 500 just by having friends and family be kind of their marketing people, their test group. Fundraisers are a different concept. Sorry, I keep trying to go to the bottom of the screen because I've got something in the way. Let me move it. All right. Local events, sporting events. We're starting to be able to do that now. We couldn't for the last year. Thank goodness we were already so set up for online. But I think getting out in your community is huge. We've poured Energize at, or did we do recovery? I think we did recovery at marathons. That was fun. So there's a lot of fun ways to get out there. And then the business to business challenge idea, again, I'm just giving you this menu because I would love for you guys to get together and start masterminding this. The B2B is getting fire departments into challenges with each other, or your fire department in a challenge with the police department, or just going into the business to business world and challenging businesses to each other to create a healthier lifestyle. Now, really, really needed. And by the way, it's easier to do with a 50 and under company, like fire departments and stuff like that, than it is bigger companies. The big elephants, as I think, are hard to hunt. So stick with the smaller fish. All right. So again, the menu is getting you to think about, how do I help and empower somebody to get to 500? Let me see if there's anything else on my notes. So team volume, getting creative, understanding that the healthy formula is really kind of the basis for this. So I want to also speak to challenge packs here, because what's the benefit of a challenge pack is that it increases the income, especially for every coach, but for every new coach. They're going to earn a little bit more for the challenge pack up front. It also builds their 90-point team volume over time, right? Because they've got customers the next month who create 90 points. It's a lower team volume though. So the average challenge pack is like 50 points in team volume. So if I was trying to get to 500 with only selling challenge packs, my goal would be 10. Rather, what I do is I'm meeting people where they are. I'm offering the challenge pack as the best bundle, but I'm not stopping there. I'm saying maybe we start with collagen. Maybe we, and I'm building that 500 points in multiple ways and causing people to see the value and kind of then take another step with me. All right, let's see. So we talked about the healthy formula as really the role of a coach. And we've talked about starting to think about creative ways for you and your team to create 500 team volume every month. Now let's talk about the power of an Emerald Tribe, which I know Jess is like, this is so cool. So what is an Emerald Tribe? Becoming an Emerald Coach is, to me, the first milestone. And I think in every plan and every company, everybody's like, I want to be the diamond, the director, the whatever the thing is. And we miss that there's this cornerstone achievement that really builds everything else. So the game plan around building Emerald Tribes is, the strategy is to get to Emerald and work on building other Emeralds. And the tribe mindset of Emerald is, it's not what I can do personally. I might crush social. I'm really good on Instagram. I got the most followers, whatever the thing is. If you can't duplicate that, you're not going to build Emerald Tribes. So you want to duplicate, you want to look at not just what you're good at individually, but what can you duplicate really well? Again, look at this duplicating 500 and sponsoring one coach. So the tribe goal is to focus on building what I call 4 generations of emeralds, and that will establish a solid team. So let's see, you're going to learn it first yourself. How do I do it? Then you're going to build a system. You guys will be doing this. You're probably already doing it in many ways and you don't realize it. Then you're going to teach it to your personally sponsored coaches, and then you're going to create teachers of this. That's how generations are built. And they're all built on a customer base. So if you think about this strategy, this one little strategy, I'm going to teach my personally sponsored emeralds to teach their personally sponsored coaches to become emerald. Therein lies this model that happens. So if you're at the top and it's April 1st and you've got a game plan to get to your 500, you've got a sponsoring event, or you've got a fun little blitz that you do. We do insight into coaching, or however you guys are doing the coaching presentation. We do once a month. Maybe you guys do it every week. It depends on whether you're working in a large enough group of coaches to warrant having them several times. One good event, well attended, is better than weekly events where it's crickets, just in my experience. But here's the model. You have, in this case, 2 people. And you now, with the 2 of them, have a game plan for April and May and June. You have a way to get to 500. That it starts there, just the U+2. The next step in duplication is you teach them how to build emeralds. And when you do that, here's what happens. This little emerald tribe, where you have taught your first level coaches how to build an emerald underneath them, is 15 coaches total. And it doesn't stop here, by the way. Ideally, this continues down, which is a beautiful thing. But for now, just look at this one emerald tribe. 15 coaches. These coaches generate 7,500 in volume collectively. How that pays out, I'm showing you the first level, the second level, the third. How that pays out in your 2 legs would earn about $447 in cycle bonus and in personal commissions. Now, the one thing I'll say about this is you're still sponsoring. So, when you look at this 23 cycles times $14 as an emerald is 322. Actually, that would happen. I was going to say, you don't have to be a ruby, because an emerald could earn $250 a week. So they'd still get there. All right. So this is what a little emerald tribe does. This isn't life-changing. But if you had emeralds and their main focus was here, this little tribe, they'd probably be happy here. But let's see what happens when you take this idea of emerald tribes into how you get to diamond. All right, so here's the classic thing I see. People reach diamond by selling challenge packs And then those coaches stay on Shakeology. So there's a bunch of people in your team who do 90 points every month because of auto ship. This diamond coach, who probably feels like she worked pretty hard, is going to make $54 and probably not feel that stable. Meaning that if one of these people, right, she's got 2 emeralds at the bottom, and then she's got her other 4, her 4 total on either side. So she's modeled the diamond here. Nobody's really learned or been empowered to start every month with a goal. They're just kind of on their Shakeology. What happens when one of these people says, yeah, I'll skip this month, or yeah, no thanks, or goes kind of dormant? She's no longer a diamond. And the other thing that happens is I think we oftentimes think when I get to diamond, I'm gonna earn more money. And I think that's probably one of the most important pieces of this to share, is that rank does not equal income. What equals income is volume. And in fact, elite does not equal income. So if you're thinking getting to elite will get you there, getting to elite will help you start building, but it doesn't necessarily add to income. What gets you there is building something volume strong. So when we started teaching our team how to get to diamond, we did not necessarily teach this. Here's what we taught. Everybody know how to do 500. So when you get to diamond, you're now generating about 6,000 volume, 3,000 in each leg. You're going to make about $485. Okay, that's not life-changing either. But what's happening is that all of these coaches have a real business that's happening. They have customers, they have a flow to it. It's not too hard. And they're enjoying the business. They've got 6 to 10 customers. They're using the healthy formula. So there isn't a push or a pull in this business anymore. There's a flow to it, okay? But here's the important thing. When you teach the duplication, I'm gonna take I know how to do 500. I've got a plan to do 500. I'm gonna teach my personally sponsored coaches how to become teachers of it. And you start building these emerald tribes. This is what happens to this same diamond, who is now not just looking at an active coach on a 90-point Shakeology order, not just stopping at having a game plan for my personally sponsored coaches to do 500, but actually empowering your coaches to build a tribe. Everybody here is doing the same 500, probably sponsoring one coach, continuing to add kind of like fuel to their business. In this example, 4 on each side, they're going to earn $3,600. In an example where I take it a little bit farther, because I never want to just be hanging there with 4 on each side, take it to 12, 6 on each side as a diamond, $5,400. Now, diamonds, can earn $2,000 a week, so they can earn much more than this. Most don't, because most are like that first model. Most aren't really looking at what's the way that let me just stop for a second and say this. Here's where this came from. In about 2017, Beachbody was growing to $1 billion. We were on a fast trajectory, and then we kind of hit a plateau. Every company does that goes through hyper growth, every one of them. And so as we were going through that, there were a lot of coaches like, I have to change what I'm doing. I'm not doing it right. I need to figure this out. I looked at my team and I'm like, why is my team volume so strong? And I looked at it really hard and carefully and looked at certain coaches that had really strong volume in both legs, or, a nice split of their 2 legs. And then I looked across the street at this sweet woman that moved in after the fires. And I said, what do I believe I could teach Katie to do? Like if she wanted to be a coach tomorrow, she's a yoga person, she loves yoga. What do I believe I could mentor her to do? And I knew and I believed that I could show her a way every month to have 6 to 10 customers, to love this business, and to do about 500 team volume. And then I noticed that that's exactly what had sustained the volume in our entire organization, was there were coaches doing that. And so this is where you taking these steps, these 4 things I've talked about, and starting to get creative about how you implement them is what generates this kind of consistent income month after month after month, and continues to grow it, by the way, because your 2 legs continue to grow. So what's the next step? I think the next step is the question, how can I help a new coach reach 500 TV consistently? That's the thing to go away and think about. How could we as a team do it? And I've seen, I've even looked at coaches like Melanie Mitchell, top coach several years in a row. And what I saw her do beautifully, first, she learned the business by putting a lot of content out into the world. But then what she learned was, how do I empower a team? She has a calendar every month that her team uses that says, here's recommended posts. Here's when we're having, coach opportunity presentation. Here's when we're focusing on a group or a launch of a new product. I mean, there's a structure. And it's not overwhelming, because the goal of that is that there's a flow to the business, not a, oh my gosh, it's the 29th and I didn't get my 2 Success Club points. You stop that from happening because you have a plan. And the plan rests on this. How do I help a new coach? Because how you do it with a new coach is how you're going to do it with the coach that's been around for 5 years. Do this job consistently. And so the last tools I just want to leave with you, and we can open up to questions if we have time, is there's a little Facebook group that's been around forever. Diamond Strong is what it's called. There's a lot of coaches who have implemented this over the last years, who have tools in there. And then you can reach me on Instagram is the best way to actually message me if you have questions that I can answer. But at the heart of this, it's really that whole idea of how you see your role as a coach and helping people figure out their healthy formula. It's understanding that empowering a coach to 500 and sponsoring one coach is one of the best gifts you can give to your entire team. And you've got to believe it's doable. And so oftentimes you have to do it yourself. You have to start there. Building an emerald tribe. So teaching emeralds how to become emeralds and build emeralds. One of my funnest stories about that is Pete Pena. I don't know if you guys know Pete, but been a coach from almost day one. I'll stop showing over here. Pete, in his first few weeks, enrolled 52 coaches down one line. And we're like, who is this guy in Las Vegas? And what in the world is he doing? He was a assistant dean of students in the worst high school in Las Vegas at the time. He wanted out of his job so bad. And he says, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sending people a link and I'm telling the Beachbody story. But what Pete did is he finally started taking that craziness and really just building everybody into emerald, into emerald, into emerald, into emerald. Then he started showing those emeralds how to duplicate that. And he had super strong diamonds. He and his wife, Sue, were the first 2 couple to ever reach the what do we call it? The Million Club? I can't remember what we call it now. The legacy, it has a name. But I was so proud of them because he never really saw a vision for what he was doing. He was just doing it automatically. So I'm going to turn this over to you guys because I planted probably some seeds that are like brewing right now. It definitely, I've watched teams do some great things with this. So Jess, are there questions? Because I've been watching the chat.
Holy smokes. I think that everyone is just like blown away. I know Colleen has a few questions. I think for all of us, it's like, man, this is what we need to be shifting to for all of us, right? So I had actually similar questions to Colleen. So I'm going to ask you, for recognition purposes, I'm sure you get this a lot too, because we know our back office is shifted towards recognizing Success Club and recognizing we can pull a PV report. What do you do for recognition in your team to reward this approach to building emerald tribes?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. It's a little bit hard to see them. I mean, you kind of have to, there's no report directly for this. I also want to tell you that this is not a shift away from challenge packs. You actually might be surprised how many challenge packs actually happen because somebody's approaching this from not just Success Club points. I realized there was a little bit of a challenge when I went to a leadership event. Maybe it was around 17, or I don't even remember what year it was. And leaders were telling me, well, you know, what I've got going on is people are selling challenge packs. And then on the 21st of the month, they're telling their customers, if you don't want to renew your Shakeology, I want to let you warn because they're going to charge it. They were actually apologizing for the second, third, fourth turn of Shakeology. And because they were so, I got my 2 Success Club points, but if you don't like Shakeology, you can cancel. There was a lot of apologizing going on and a lot of self-defeating stuff happening with customers over this HD order of Shakeology. And so even though they were selling a challenge pack, they weren't getting the benefit of of having that HD order there. Um, I also saw, people just a little bit burnout and a little bit feeling like I'm not successful at this because people are saying no, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much more than this. But I will tell you, recognition wise, there's a couple of sweet spots. We make emeralds almost invisible. An emerald that is maximizing their $250 a week is awesome. And an emerald that is doing 500 or more is awesome. So we definitely recognize volume. And there's a couple of fun things you can do. Like you could do a something by the 15th of the month, like reach 300 by the 15th of the month, and recognize that, because they're kind of almost halfway or more than halfway to getting there by the end of the month. And it also, I do sponsoring events at the beginning of the month. So you got that out of the way. And, so a lot of our activity is around, so recognizing 300 or whatever number you want midway through the month, and then recognizing the 500 plus one, 500 plus coach at the end of the month is huge. Those are two big ones that we do. And then I think we recognize volume, but I've seen it done in a lot of nice ways, like recognizing lives changed, or recognizing, telling this, sharing stories of coaches who've sponsored another coach with a great story there, especially focusing on what emeralds are doing as they're getting to diamond, I think is big for recognition. Being able to find tribes is not easy in our current reports. But an emerald who builds an emerald is a really big deal too. So I don't know if that answers your question, but those are a few things I've done.
I love that. I think that's awesome. So a couple questions I have too is I've seen people like you mentioned. I'm glad you said that about like this is not like not not offering the challenge pack. That's not what we're doing. We're just offering it in a fresh way with the healthy formula. And I love that. It's like a no-brainer, right? We meet people where they're at. And I've seen some coaches make that shift, but then they don't do the 6 to 10 people. It's they're programmed to, well, I helped 3 people buy collagen. Why am I not making money? And so I think it's super important for us to remember still to the quantity of people that we need to still be connecting with is important. I would love to hear how your approach to reaching new people each month. Are you doing that? I've heard you share, like, I was at Costco and so I talked to the person in line. Like, I would love kind of your fresh approach on how 15 years into this, how are you connecting with people still every month?
Okay, so I didn't build what I built on social media. And you guys can all go watch my Instagram and my Facebook, and it is total proof of that. To this day, I've considered actually hiring, I've hired different mentors in my life. Eric Worre was probably the biggest one for a while, but, and that's even coming out of network marketing most of my life. But yeah, so I've considered it. So I literally approached my life totally curious about people. I was talking to a gal yesterday who totally struggles with this. I don't know what her Enneagram is, but she is like an engineer. And I said, here's my task for you. I want you to go out in a week when we talk. I want you to tell me about 5 people you've met that you don't know today. And I want you to tell me about them. And then I want you to tell me, how would you add value to that person? Like kind of John Maxwell style, I guess, in a way, but like, and she looked at me mortified. She's like, are you kidding me? That's so time consuming. And I'm like, I would rather you have, like I said before, 100 people that you could tell me about, because you actually are mastering the skill of being genuinely curious about another person and how you can serve them or add value into their life somehow. That'll bring more joy to this work, and it will bring actually more results. And you have to trust, there's a trust there, that doing your business that way. But yeah, so like I do meet people everywhere I go. And I'm genuinely like a little kid, like watch a 4-year-old or, go to a playground. I'm genuinely curious about people. And I oftentimes will say like, how are you doing? Like, how's your health? Like, how have you been hanging, how have you been coping with this whole COVID thing? Or um, I do a lot of curious questions, and I don't have a connection to where that conversation will go. I don't have a perceived outcome, but I will tell you that in my mind, all business is a conversation, and I have a lot of them, and it brings me the greatest joy. So when I started, you know, a good example, Judy Finneran, if you guys have seen, I think she was in the contest a year or so ago. Judy's lost over 200 pounds in 2D mindset. She's in her 70s now. Um, but she was a successful real estate in San Diego, real estate agent, like probably 300,000 a year. And so I never talked to her about business. I'm like, yeah, she's already doing her thing. Like, she's not going to want to do it. And she laughingly says to me, I had to ask you what you were doing. Um, and that was my big lesson was, so in Costco, like I'm always like, I stand in line. I'm like, everybody's got like their three favorite things. I asked, I was at Trader Joe's the other day and I asked the gal who was checking me out, I'm like, okay, you get to pick one thing in this entire store. What's your favorite? And it starts a conversation. Um, so so I'm going to tell you that starting conversations, seeing the value of conversations, making them fun and letting them enrich your life, and trusting that mastering that is going to literally fuel your business. It has for me. Um, and in a way that doesn't feel contrived or pitchy or hey girlish or any of those things. I just don't do it. And I don't need to, but I will tell you that my strategy around using social is this is me in my feed. This is me. And this is what I believe in and stand for. And my communication to people on the back end is about them. And I know that if I'm communicating with people about their lives, curious about their lives and asking questions, they're coming over to see who I am. And I am not selling, and usually asking me just like Judy Finneran did. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know your secret. It's how I built the Womenkind community, same way. So I wish I could tell you like there's a script or something. I think it's a mindset more than anything else.
100%. And that's what I love about you and your approach. And I think that every single person needs to hear, because I see so many coaches. I'm sure you do too. I mean, you're the first coach ever of Beachbody. That's like so mind blowing to me and incredible. But I see so many people get in their heads, especially in the beginning. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to bug people. I don't want to be annoying. It's about, our mindset is about us. I don't want to. It's not about how can I serve this person? What do they need? And I love what you just said. Be genuinely curious about people and just be their friend. How can you? It's not about you, it's about them. How could you make their life better? And without a perceived outcome. And I think that that's so huge.
Yeah, and those of us who've had some success in this forget sometimes that there's a trust bridge between that. Because if you're here and you're trying to get here and you feel like it's really slow, like I'm barely getting my customer, I'm trying to get over here, you feel like you almost have to be more intentional and more direct and more, I don't want to say pitchy or salesy or whatever, to get the results you want. There's a trust in adding value to people and knowing that'll come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slower build,
Mm-hmm.
but it's stuck. I mean, it sticks. That's the benefit. You're not rebuilding it, and you're not feeling pitchy and you're not feeling salesy. And not to say, I will tell you that I'm probably one of the first women to stand up to anybody who diminishes the value of sales, because the world would not go around without it. And I am proudly in that profession. But the way I do it is very patient. And I'm always looking at how am I fueling my business today that way.
Love it. Nikki, do you have a question? You're muted, sister.
Yes, I do. Hi, Milan. Thanks so
Hi.
much for being on our call.
Of course.
I know that you said seeing bigger than the challenge pack or the challenge groups.
Mm-hmm.
How, because people all appreciate support differently through text. I am someone who's like, I am not a Facebooker. And so just everybody is so different. So how do you meet, or how do you like not lose people that are, I mean, you don't have to have that big of a team to just kind of feel overwhelmed with how do I connect with them individually? Do you have like a certain day that you're always checking in with them and you meet them how they are, how you know that they like to be met, whether it's through a text or an Instagram or do you have more of a system or a group where there's an expectation and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a good question because managing contacts has been one of these. I've seen so many coaches like kind of trying to sort that out. So I'm gonna tell you, people are reaching out me Messenger, Instagram Messenger, WhatsApp now, Facebook. I mean, I'm like, there's times that I'm like, I had to leave for 10 days recently because my daughter broke her foot and she has a baby and a 7-year-old, and she just is like, so literally for 10 days I checked out. And one of the hardest things when I came back into that world was who's trying to reach me from where? Like, it's crazy. But I'm a time blocker. So first, in terms of how I manage my time and how I spend my time, total time blocker. And that also gives me a very big visual. I also, it gives me a very big visual of where I'm spending my time and how I'm following up. Yeah. I think in some ways I'm not the best person to tell you how to run a streak or whatever those things that people are doing, because I don't do it. I use a planner and time blocking, and I am always kind of looking in the core ways that I'm connecting with people, probably an hour a day, staying in touch, doing that. The rest of my time is all new stuff. I'm always doing newer development, but I'm not the person to give you the secret juice on contact management. And again, maybe because I take the pressure off of myself, because building to a consistent 500 and showing other people how to do that doesn't require massive, once you've got your little kind of thing flowing, I don't have 500 conversations going on that I'm trying to maintain. I probably have 20 or so at any given time. But I mean, I've seen coaches who are transactional in nature. I mean, they're transactional. They've got massive lists, and they've got, some of them are running ads, some of them are doing all kinds of things where they've got this huge, offering freemiums and doing all of that. Honestly, I've never done that. I'm finding people that are like-minded. I'm creating conversations. My goal is probably just to explore 3 new people a day, and I'm managing about 20 to 25 conversations. And I want that to be duplicable for the sweet little yoga lady across the street. So I'm not modeling anything bigger than that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Love that. Well, you pretty much just changed our lives in an hour. So thank you for that.
So I left you with a task, and the task is, think about 500. How do I empower somebody to do that? How do I empower myself to do it? And, maybe you've missed somebody along the line that would love collagen, or that would love to get their digestive system healthy, or there's lots of opportunities. I understand that Success Club, challenge packs, all of that was is still today, a very tight focus to keep it very simple. What I don't want that to cost us is a chance to serve somebody that might not be the answer for. That's all I'm really saying here.
I love that. Thank you
Good to
so
see
much.
you guys.
Thank you so much, Milan, for your time. I'm sure we could sit here and ask you questions all day. Thank you so much for your PowerPoint that you shared with us. I took some screenshots because that was so powerful. I loved your menu that you had, and we just really appreciate your time. So thank you. Thank you all for joining us. I will be uploading the recording as soon as we jump off this call. I hope you all have an amazing day. Go out and make 500 happen for somebody on your team.
Great.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, everybody.